Hi, I'm Greg, 34, taxi dispatcher on the night shift, father to a 6-year-old who thinks every traffic light is a tiny robot doing its best. Get out of my house or I'll call the cops. That's what my sister screamed in front of 80 people, music still blaring, disco lights stuttering like they were embarrassed for us. It wasn't even her house, it was a rented ballroom behind a strip mall with valet cones and a fake baby grand piano. But when my 6-year-old bumped her cake table and knocked over her $2,400 engagement masterpiece, you'd think he'd burned the place down with a sparkler. It didn't even fall hard. He wasn't running, just dancing, doing this wiggly little sidestep he invented. One sneaker clipped the table leg. Top tier slid like a glacier. The bottom half leaned. I lunged. I missed. The whole sugary tower collapsed in slow motion, frosting hitting the carpet with a splat loud enough to stop the Cupid shuffle. My nephew, Jules's future stepson, clapped. Thought it was a magic trick. Everyone else gasped like it was a funeral. Jules spun around and pointed at my kid like he was a criminal. Get out of my house. And then Mom joined in. You're not really ours anyway, she said, her champagne breath sharp. Ask your father about that. Loud. Calculated. And it was like she'd been storing the line in her purse waiting for a public moment. I cut her off. We're done here. I picked up Theo. He was shaking. I tucked a Hot Wheels car in his hand, the one he brought in his little blazer pocket for good luck. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. We left. That should have been the end. 3 hours later, Coco made, frosting scrubbed off our shoes, cartoons on low. I got the knock. 2 cops. Not for me. For my father. And that was the beginning of everything else unraveling. The older officer was calm, clipboard steady. The younger one kept glancing at Theo, asleep on the couch under a throw blanket with a fire truck on it. Mr. Halpern, the older one said, we're not here for you. We're here for your father. My first thought? Of course he's here. I didn't even have to ask how he got past the security buzzer. He probably sweet-talked someone at the front desk or claimed he forgot his keys. That's his move. Charm first, confusion second, blame third. I stepped into the hall and there he was, tie still on from the party, loosened but proud, like he'd done something noble. Greg, he said, as if we were at a family barbecue and not about to be cuffed for identity theft. Tell them this is a misunderstanding. The officer raised an eyebrow. Sir, we're detaining him on suspicion of fraudulent use of personal information. My dad cut in. It's a family account. You think I'd steal from my own son? He works nights. He's tired. He's confused. I felt my whole body shift into dispatcher mode, calm voice, short sentences, no drama. For the last year, I said, charges have been hitting my name, address, and employer information that I didn't authorize. A shuttle service, catering, a ride app. All linked to an account he opened. With my name. You never would have done it. He snapped, like that was the defense. So I did it for you. For the family. Mark's family thinks we're broke. What was I supposed to do, let your sister be embarrassed? She tried to extort me for a cake. She was upset. You used my name. My job. My credit. I didn't shout. That's the secret. Don't scream, say it so flat that even the wallpaper listens. The younger officer turned to me. Do you want to file a formal statement? I nodded. I already started the paperwork. Dad tried one last time. Greg, please. Don't do this. You think your little boy wants to see his grandpa arrested? I turned. I crouched. Theo had shuffled to the hallway, sock-footed, rubbing his eyes. I said loud and clear, he wants to see his dad protect him. And that's exactly what I'm doing. The officers took my father downstairs. I didn't cry. I didn't break. I stood in the doorway of the apartment I pay for, watching the elevator doors close behind a man I used to want to impress. Inside, Theo tugged my sleeve. Daddy? Yeah, buddy? Is Grandpa in timeout? I smiled just a little. Yeah, I said. He is. By Monday morning, the cake was old news. The police report was the story now. Word spread like it always does, fast, ugly, and half wrong. Jules posted a black screen on her Instagram story with white text. Betrayal hits hardest when it wears your blood. 3 broken heart emojis. No names, just enough breadcrumbs for her friends to start circling. Comments flooded in. Stay strong, Queen. Cut the toxicity. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. Meanwhile, Mark, her fiancé, texted me directly. From an unknown number. Hey. My family's a lot. Your family is also a lot. I didn't sign up for scams. I'm postponing. I stared at the message for a long time. Replied. Good luck. He texted again. For what it's worth, your kid didn't knock that cake alone. My stepson tripped him. He told me later. Said he was scared of your mom. I didn't respond. Not because I was mad. Because I couldn't believe I'd missed it. Theo never danced like that near tables. He's cautious. He holds my pinky when we cross the street. And that little stumble he made, I'd seen it before. At the playground when a bigger kid nudged him. My family let him take the fall. Then used it to shake me down. Mom tried to call next. Then texted. We need to talk. This vendetta is childish. It's not too late to fix it. No apology. No recognition. Just urgency, like I was ruining her weekend. Then the group chat resurrected itself like a zombie. Jules. Greg will fix this. He has a job with phones. It's his area. Dad. Just tell the cops it was a misunderstanding. Family matter. Not a crime. I muted it. That afternoon, HR from my job called. A polite woman named Denise. We received a request a few months ago to transfer a corporate transportation account under your name, she said. We flagged it after you emailed us. But it was later unflagged by someone claiming to be you. They had your employee ID. My ID that stays in my wallet. My wallet that lives in my coat. The same coat I always hang on the back of Mom's kitchen chair. It clicked. Every errand. Every reach the top shelf favor. Every. Spot me real quick, I forgot my wallet. They'd been lifting more than guilt. They'd been lifting access. I hung up and sat still for a full minute. Then I opened my drawer. Pulled out a plain manila folder I'd started months ago, when small charges started creeping up on my card. Receipts. Printouts. Screenshots. Names. Dates. Dispatcher instincts. I emailed the detective everything. I didn't editorialize. I just attached it with a subject line that said, Further documentation for fraud case, Halpern. Within 10 minutes he wrote back. Thank you. This helps a lot. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt like a dam with a crack finally splitting down the center. And all I could think was, they didn't just lie. They bet on me being too quiet to stop them. The next day, a DNA kit showed up in my mailbox. No return address. Just one of those generic mailers with the branding scraped off, like it had been passed through 3 hands and 1 grudge. Inside, the little tube, the instructions, the implication. Not even a note. It was either Jules or my mother, my money's on Mom. Her version of closure is confirming a suspicion she invented herself. I held it over the trash can. And stopped. Not because I cared what they thought. But because the whisper they planted. He's not really ours. Wasn't for them anymore. It was for me. Or more specifically for Theo. I didn't owe them anything. But I owed him quiet. So we did it together. At the kitchen table, next to a half-built Lego fire station and a bowl of green grapes. Is this a science experiment? Theo asked, wide-eyed. Yep, I said, gently turning the tube so he could see the swirl. We mailed it that afternoon. Then went to the park. Then built a paper airplane that curved left on purpose. Life didn't stop because my family was imploding. It just rerouted. That night, I changed everything. New bank account. New passcodes. I froze my credit, then unfroze it for exactly 90 minutes to open a fresh card in a bank I'd never used, across town from anywhere my father might have charm left. I pulled myself off the family phone plan. Ate the fee. Switched our mail to AP, box. Bought a cheap safe for documents and keys. And made a list titled, Freedom Costs What It Costs. $50 new mailbox. $78 cancellation fee. $35 fingerprinting. $0 peace of mind. My apartment felt different. Still smelled like coffee by 5 a.m., but it wasn't just caffeine anymore. It was mine. The walls weren't listening for someone else's drama. They were holding. A few days later, Mom showed up at my door. Pounded it like she still had ownership rights. Sent a series of escalating texts. Open the door. We need to talk. Or I'll get building management involved. Kidding but open. I screenshotted them. Sent them to the detective. He replied one word. Documented. That night, I wrote the only message I've sent to the family group since this all started. From now on, do not use my name, ID, or address for anything. Contact me only for legal or medical emergencies concerning Granddad. Speak about my son's DNA again, and I will lawyer up. The balance sheet is closed. I muted the thread. Theo asked if we could have pancakes for dinner. We did. I let him pour the syrup. He got some on the table. I didn't flinch. The detective called on a Thursday, right after I dropped Theo off at school and was halfway through folding laundry that still smelled faintly of syrup. We've formally arrested your father, he said. Vendors confirmed the patterns. The DA's reviewing it now. You'll likely get a subpoena for paperwork only. You won't have to testify unless it goes to trial. I said thank you like he was calling to confirm a pizza. Then I sat very still on the edge of my unmade bed, a sock in one hand, feeling everything and nothing. I wasn't angry. I wasn't relieved. I felt cleared out. Like a snowplow had passed through my life and scraped it clean down to concrete. Sturdy. Cold. Flat. That night I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Mark. Jules's fiancé. The one whose family I was apparently supposed to impress with stolen funds and sugar architecture. Hey. For what it's worth. I didn't know about any of this. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. He wrote again. I'm postponing the wedding. There's too much noise. Still didn't respond. Then the kicker. Your nephew, the little guy, he told me something. Said he was told to. Make it funny. When the cake fell. Said he didn't want to. Said your mom scares him. I stared at that message like it was a test. Because deep down, I already knew. Kids don't fake fear like that. They absorb the tension and act it out in the only ways they understand. Little nudges, little claps, little rehearsals for big explosions. My family set up a scene and cast the wrong villain. They just didn't count on me stepping off stage. 2 days later, a box arrived. Inside, the DNA results. Crisp white paper. No drama font. Theo, 99. 99% me. I didn't call anyone. Didn't forward it. I just set it on the kitchen counter, put on a cartoon, and sat down next to my son. He leaned against me and said, Daddy, when I'm big, I'm gonna drive a taxi with wings. I said, You will. Just make sure the little robots get to sleep sometimes. That night, Mom texted a picture of me at age 5 wearing a paper crown. Caption. You used to smile more. Remember who you are. I didn't reply. I remembered just fine. Monday morning, I got a voicemail from legal aid. Calm voice, female, efficient. Your intake is complete. We'll connect you with a caseworker to assist with long-term recovery, and to document any ongoing harassment or boundary violations. I hadn't even realized I was waiting to feel seen until I played the message twice. Somebody had logged my mess into a system. A real one. Not a family thread. Not a whispered favor. I made a second mug of coffee and packed Theo's lunch like the world wasn't shaking under new construction. Midway through the week, Aunt Bev texted. Proud of you for setting boundaries. Code 4 I've picked my side, but don't ask me to say it out loud. Cousin Matt posted. Family is complicated. Which is family speak for I don't want to deal with this, but I do want to stay invited to things. Jules stayed cryptic. More story posts. One was just a photo of her new wedding binder next to a slice of cake with a bite missing. Caption. Bite back, not down. She was on resilience now. Good for her. Then, Mark's cousin posted a photo of the fallen engagement cake with a crying laugh emoji and the comment, "R.I.P. to the cake that died for our sins." The thread blew up. Jules DM'd me within the hour. "You're loving this, aren't you? You always wanted to humiliate me." I didn't reply. There's no point in trying to translate your silence to someone who only hears screams. That evening, my boss called me into a meeting. "I know what's going on," he said. "You don't need to give me the family soap opera, but I want you to know, we've got your back. You're the one we call when midnight looks like a mess. If you need a shift change, you got it." I didn't realize how much I needed that sentence. So I took the offer. Starting next month, I'd be working days. I'd be the guy who got to pick up his kid after school instead of trying to stay awake through dinner. That night, we made spaghetti. Theo still calls it long noodles. He said he wants to grow a mustache so he can be a taxi boss like Daddy. I told him he could be anything. He asked if we could build a fort. We did, 2 chairs, 1 sheet, 1 flashlight, and a bowl of popcorn. In the quiet, I remembered something the detective said offhand. People trust the wrong people with the right details. I used to think it was about passwords and social security numbers. Now I know it's also about forgiveness. And who gets to have it. Thursday morning, a letter came from the DA's office. Clean envelope. Official seal. Inside, confirmation of the fraud charges, case number, estimated restitution timeline, and a note that I wouldn't be required to appear unless the defense requested testimony. They never would. My father, it turns out, had confessed most of it already, said it was a misunderstanding, a temporary patch, all in the name of family pride. Translation, he did it. He admitted it. He just didn't think he'd get caught. I set the papers in a folder. Labeled it Proof I'm Not Crazy. It sat next to Theo's drawings and a small stack of thank you cards from drivers I've helped reroute in a storm. That evening, as I was refilling the bird feeder outside our window, a new envelope appeared in the mailbox. No stamps. Hand-delivered. I opened it with one hand while Theo built a Lego garage on the floor. Inside? A new DNA kit. No note. Just a fresh tube and a silent dare. I dropped it in the trash without a second thought. Some questions get one answer once. You don't relitigate truth just because someone else didn't like the results. That night, Mom texted a picture of Theo from 3 years ago, him in a lion Halloween costume, roaring at the camera, cheeks painted with eyeliner whiskers. The caption said, "I miss when you let us be close." I almost replied. Almost. But close, in her dictionary meant available to blame, borrow from, and betray. So I archived it. Instead, I took Theo for pancakes the next morning. Our usual spot, vinyl booths and syrup that sticks to the menus. The server gave him a stir stick shaped like a baseball bat, and he grinned like he'd won a medal. My dad works at night to help other dads get home. He told her unprompted. She smiled and said, "Sounds like a superhero." I tipped big. Because kindness is currency. And not every debt should be paid in sugar and silence. Back home, my phone lit up with a group thread notification I forgot to mute. Jules. Mark and I have reconciled. Wedding's back on. Cake's been ordered. Greg, I assume you'll be civil this time. Civil. Like I was the tornado and not the dispatch tower warning them for months. I closed the thread. Permanently. Later that day, I got an alert that Dad's trial had been postponed. Legal maneuvering. Fine. Let it stretch. Let them stall. Meanwhile, I was learning how to exist without flinching every time my phone buzzed. It felt like slowly unlearning a second language I never meant to be fluent in. 2 weeks later, we passed a bakery on the walk home from school. Theo slowed, tugged my hand, pressed his nose to the glass. "That one's taller than me," he said, eyes wide at a cake shaped like a castle. The baker saw us and came outside, apron dusted in flour, tired but kind. "For the little guy," she said, handing Theo a cookie. Then she looked at me. "And for the dispatcher who got my driver home last winter when the bridge was frozen." You remember that? I blinked. You remember me? People remember feeling safe, she said, simple and sure. Take the cookie. We sat on the curb. Split it. Crumbs on our jackets, frosting on Theo's nose. He leaned against me, legs swinging. Are we a family? He asked. Not scared. Just curious, like he was testing the shape of a word he heard other people use too freely. We are, I said. Always. He nodded like I just handed him the answer to a riddle. Even if Grandma is mad? Especially then. He thought about that, serious. Then handed me the bigger half of the cookie. That night, I wrote one final message. Not to my family. To myself. In a plain notebook I keep by the coffee maker. I am not a wallet. I am not a favor. I am not a spare name to sign when you want something. I am a father. A dispatcher. A man who keeps promises even if nobody taught me how. I build forts from chairs and teach tiny robots how to cross intersections. I make long noodles every Wednesday. I answer when I'm called, unless you call me the wrong thing. There's no fairy tale ending. Jules still thinks I ruined her party. Mom still sends guilt like it's postage paid. Dad's lawyer tried to call last week. But none of them have a key anymore. Not to my door. Not to my time. Not to the soft, steady space I built for me and my son. And every night, after Theo falls asleep, I check the locks. Not because I'm scared. But because I finally can.